beer kit review time once again. We've got a fantastic all grain kit from the Malt Miller. This one is priced at £26, including delivery, with everything you need. Your malts, your yeast, your hops. All you got to do is add some thyme, water, a bit of heat, however you brew, and that's it really, and that's it. So it's going to be a robust porter, and it has got tons of Chinook in it at various stages, and a big dry hop as well. So we've got 200 grams total of Chinook, and a West Coast yeast as well to add to it. I'm already currently mashing. I might do a little bit of brew day footage just to kind of, you know, run through a few things, but I'm currently doing the mash, but it is, unfortunately, it's gone over the market. It's a little bit too high. I'm hoping I haven't kind of going to start extracting some tannins by going too high, because I left the induction hob on a little bit. I normally keep it on a very low burn to keep the temperature. Sometimes I wrap it up quite a lot, but normally that's in the winter months when it kind of needs that, but in the summer when it's a bit warmer, it retains the heat quite well, and I kind of forgot about that. It's been a while since I've done a full mash, and yeah, it's gone over a little bit. It's a bit high, so I've left the lid off to try and cool it down a little bit. It's a 90-minute mash. I'm hoping it's not going to have too much impact on it. Hopefully, I'm praying, if I'm honest. It does say on this particular kit, it's one to be drunk quite young, the freshness of the hops, and it's ready to drink quite soon, so I'm looking forward to that because my stocks are absolutely zero. It was quite a hard ship getting in. I think it's about near enough 7 kilos of grain into there, so I've had to hold a bit of water back, and then I'm going to use that for the sparge. So it is kind of a full mash, but I've had to take a little bit out because otherwise it would just be overflowing. Okay, so we're finally at the boil, and this is why you shouldn't drink beer and then just leave it. You can see all the hop breakers kind of gone over the sides, leaving a rather nasty cleanup later on, but hey ho, we're there. So the first hops are in. I think it's about 35 grams of Chinook that went in first of all. Then we've got a 50 gram at 5 minutes and a 50 gram at 0 minutes, or flame out if you want to call it. And then we've got a 65 gram dry hop after 3 days. So we will cut back to some more hop additions. If not, you will see the final review. Okay, so we're at the final stage of the Malt Miller Chinook Robust Porter. And I have to say I'm slightly sorry there's not a little bit more footage than there was on the brew day. A few things went wrong. I need to go back to the footage and edit in that, so it may or may not be in there. But from what I recall, the brew day wasn't a great success. I think I covered it in a homebrew Wednesday that I mashed too high. I had a massive boil over, which I haven't had in that setup for a long time, purely because, I don't know, I was drinking beer, you know, while you're brewing. I sort of went off to watch a bit of TV while the next edition was waiting to count down, and the beep hadn't gone off yet, and I looked round and there's just like hot break everywhere down the side of the pot, and you know, I hadn't lost a lot of beer, but there was just mess everywhere. Anyway, I've got some of this in a little keg, in a 9 litre Corny. It is slightly overcarbonated. This, what happens with the 9 litre setup is that the first one tends to be quite a bit of a gush, and then it's got to settle down. But I won't lie, I've got 9 litres of this in a keg purely because it was like laziness for bottling, and I bottled, so you've got like a super head which will die down. But it does reach a point where these 9 litres, when I've just done a natural carbonation, there's no CO2 other than to kind of purge the anything out of it and kind of make the lid sit tighter. That's all on the kind of own carbonation of it, and I'll probably get a good, you know, 4 or 5 pints before, or more sometimes, before I even add an additional CO2 to push it out. But I've drunk a fair few of these in the bottles. The recipe does say drink them fresh, and I'd agree on that. But wow, what a fantastic drink. I was surprised because to me it had been my first all grain brew that I'd done for a while. Gone out the saddle a little bit. And what I love about this beer is kind of made me realise that I need to brew more. I need to kind of get back into kind of the brewing. It's fantastic. And for all the things that went wrong, it still turned out a great beer. I mean, my mash was stupidly high at one point. I took the lid off, give it a good stir mash to bring it down a bit, but from what I was reading on the internet now, it wasn't going to be great. But you know, maybe it would be even better if the mash was right. But I think that my mash worries were a little bit too over what's name, and it's turned out just fine anyway. Anyway, onto the beer. It's a robust porter. It's got lots of Chinook in there. It is all Chinook. It's several additions through the brew, and a good, I think it was 60 grams. The recipe details and that are all in the bit down below, and you can see it all on the Malt Miller. Yeah, and a West Coast ale yeast, I'm pretty sure it was. Absolutely fantastic. Let me dive in. It has a fantastic creamy head, which is even creamier on the keg. In the bottle, it's still just as good. Funny with this one, in the keg, I prefer it kind of like a room temperature. In the bottle, for me, it's probably the first porter that I've kind of really enjoyed a little bit cooler. Some porters and stouts, I tend to kind of just go for room temperature, but quite cool. This one really hits the spot. And for me, like, it kind of echoes to something like you'd get from, I can't think of the brewery, but there's like, they do little tins of this porter. I think it might be Northern Monk. They do a particular like coffee porter and things like that, and it kind of, although it's got no coffee in it, it's kind of, how good it is makes me think, wow, well, I've had them tins and I've got some of this at home. It's like, it's that good. So everything you want from a porter, it's got that roastiness, it's got a little bit of chocolate there, but then you've got that hop bite. There's a tiny, you know, it's not overly bitter, it's not a super hoppy beer, but there's this hint of citrus that's there, that's in the background. You get it on the nose, but you definitely get a little bit on the taste. But I would agree, in the recipe that says to be drunk fresh, and there's not much left, I have to be fair. Out of a 23 litre, it was a full batch. I've given a few out actually to some people, because I think it's okay. I think a lot of people, like, I was a bit wary, like, if it's going to be too hoppy, because some of the people give beer out to, they're not really into their kind of craft beer and such, or hoppy beer, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, yeah, but for me, it really does get the spot. It's a fantastic kit. As I said before, I probably will end up kind of getting further kits than that, but wow, as a robust porter goes, or a kit beer from a company, fantastic. I can't knock it. Everything's kind of weighed out. It's all crushed, if you want it to be. You get the yeast, and this particular one, I'll put the price down below, just so I don't screw it up on camera. It includes the delivery price from my. Let me just quickly get it up on my phone. Yeah, free shipping. So it's £26. So you get 23 litres. Yeah, the additions were 34 grams in the 60-minute boil, 50 at 5 minutes, 50 at 0 minutes, and 66 dry hop, and a Malt Miller West Coast yeast. Yeah, it's mashed at 66 for 90 minutes, but mine kind of went a little bit verging on the kind of 72, 75 at its highest, probably a little bit high at one point, if I'm not trying to lie too much, but wow. Yeah, great on a keg, but I mean, I don't know, I'm torn with this one. It's kind of one of them ones where I think I don't have the facility to chill my keg down, but in a bottle when it's a little bit chilled. I'd say for me, easily one of the best kits maybe that I've ever brewed, really. It's really that good, to be fair. I'm trying to think what would beat it. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of there for me. I like a porter or a stout, and it's got that little bit extra to it. It's really good. It really, really is good. So Malt Miller robust porter, fantastic. Easy to brew. All grain setup is all you need. Don't matter your setup. Everything's crushed. Everything's pre-weighted. The only thing you have to do is weigh your hops out on the day, but that's a minor. You know, it makes for a stress-free brew day. Things can still go wrong, as you will have seen. But, you know, that's down to yourself. And I didn't do any water treatments. You know, I've still yet to kind of get into that. That's one thing I want to touch on at some point. But it's turned out great for me. So, you know, maybe if you do whatever you do to your beer, treatments-wise, it's going to be even better. But for me, it's an easy 10 out of 10 as a kit. Fantastic.